Well, hello and welcome to another guest interview here on the Profit with Law podcast. I'm your host, Moshe Amsel, and we have a repeat guest today, and I'm really excited to have Paul Mackiewicz back with us again for another round. Those of you who remember, Paul imparted a ton of wisdom in his last interview with us. And if you don't remember or you missed it, you definitely want to go check it out. You might even want to hit pause, go listen to that one and come back to listen to this one, because we're not going to repeat his story and who he is. And he might also lean into some things that he's spoken about before and kind of gloss over it because we already know that. So go to profitwithlaw.com/362 or search your podcast player. It was How to Manage Your Firm's Online Presence and Attract Your Ideal Clients with Paul Mackiewicz, episode 362. Go listen to that and come back. All right, awesome. You consumed that entire episode. You are quick. You're back with us. That is really, really wonderful. So who is Paul? Paul is the CEO of #SmartLife, and CEO and founder. Did I get that right? CEO and founder of Unravel Marketing as well. U.S. Army veteran, husband and father, entrepreneur, marketing expert. He's been working with high character legal and medical professionals to positively impact their communities. His approach is simple: find the unique value and mechanism his clients use to build trust and emotional connections with their prospects so they can help more people and display that online in a way that generates more revenue from their online presence. Outside of his professional endeavors, Paul is usually playing golf, volunteering, or enjoying this beautiful world he sees as a gift from God. And I think, if I remember correctly from the background that you have there, you are a U.S. Army veteran, correct?
Yeah, I'm also Spider-Man.
And you're Spider-Man. So I want to say thank you for your service in the past with the U.S. Army, and thank you for your service currently as you go out and save us every single day out there in the world as Spider-Man. But Paul, welcome back to the show. I'm excited to have you and have another conversation with you.
Yeah, this is going to be great. I'm excited for it.
Awesome. So what we are going to do is we're going to jump right into some stuff. And in the green room, before we started talking, you were talking to me about this idea of unique mechanisms. And it's something that law firms might not be doing with their marketing. And maybe they should start paying attention to it and finding their own unique mechanism when it comes to their marketing and getting their word out there. So talk to me about what in the world is that, and how does somebody unlock that for their firm?
Yeah, it's fantastic working with lawyers because one, so many of them have the same problem, right? Like there's only so many car accidents, there's only so many employment law cases, and it's a constant competition for that awareness and the end all goal of actually getting the conversion out of it. And so we run hundreds of thousands of dollars of paid ads for all of our clients every single month. And so we get the opportunity to really do a lot of A/B testing and seeing what works. And last time I was on here, we spoke a lot about building those emotional connections with people when they land on your website, giving them a reason to trust you, a reason to relate to you. And those are all incredibly important. But when you take that same concept and you start looking at it with paid ads, you have a much smaller canvas in order to do this. And so that with that, you want to find some sort of verbiage that you can use to differentiate yourself really quickly. And the best way to do that is really a unique mechanism. So you start with the very broad topic of your unique value. And that could be anything from the type of people that you like to work with, the areas you serve, the practice areas that you have. So end of the day, your unique value tends to be very similar to a lot of the other law firms in your area. You can find some cool taglines or things like that. But all in all, it's you that they're buying. And so you got to find something special about you. And a unique mechanism is actually just putting a title on the special way that you operate. Probably the most famous example of a unique mechanism is P90X. There's a million different workout options out there. You could, do jazzercise, you could do Pilates, you could do, CrossFit. But what P90X did is when they came into the market, they introduced this idea of muscle confusion. Now they made it sound like this is a brand new thing, right? Oh, now optimize your body using muscle confusion. But really, fitness has been doing that for years and years. It's why you don't do leg a day back to back, because then you walk around like you got jelly holding you up. It's the same idea. But by them pushing this concept as a brand new thing that they created, they invented, they brought to the market, it really allowed them to take a huge, huge market share in short order. How a law firm could do this would be introducing your specific way of dealing with clients. And that can be anything from the onboarding process, the intake process of, hey, truly understand your case with the, attorney A masterclass onboarding, or the, really whatever you can use to define something special about you. We use one for one of our law firms that we just called the Drake difference. It's we talked about Drake last time. He's an awesome guy. He's one of my favorite clients, and I talk to him like every week. So having that level of communication with your marketer is also very, very helpful. They can get to know you very well and come up with these things like the Drake difference. So what's cool about that is one of the major complaints that you get as a law firm is they weren't communicating with me enough. They weren't, I wasn't informed of my case. I didn't know where it stood, things like that. So the Drake difference is you get a text message every 3 days on your case, no matter what, just to let you know where it is. One, it shows that internally they're holding themselves accountable, being sure that all their cases are progressing. Externally, you can imagine the immediate objection handling on, like, should I work with this attorney? I see, maybe a negative review that mentions he never got back to me. But now when you have the Drake difference, where I'm updated on my case every 3 days, that's fantastic. That's something that not a whole lot of other attorneys are doing. Now, there's programming, there's third-party software, there's resources that you can do in order to do this outside of maybe an internal process where somebody's doing this manually. But just by instituting it and advertising it as something new and different in the industry, his ads started performing about twice as well as they were before. You can tell people all day, we've recovered 250 million for our clients. But if you tell people we've recovered 250 million using or because of the Drake difference, and now you've piqued a little curiosity, a little intrigue into it, and it's just text that's going on an already standard display ad where, what would you put there anyway? It would have just been an image. So now you're using that room in a way that's building intrigue and building curiosity. And curiosity is one of the major things that converts. We like to choose people that we think is going to push us to the next level. And whether they can or not, that's yet to be determined. But that curiosity is going to push them that extra step to make the contact.
I love this concept of creating something that you can just give a name to, and then that's the vehicle that's going to get them the success that they want. And now, if another law firm doesn't have it, then essentially they're kind of locked into needing to use you. So I'm just curious if there's a difference between like the Drake difference or Drake method. I forgot what you would called it, where it's named after the attorney or the law firm, versus a name like muscle confusion, where it's named after the actual thing, right? Like, do you think that it makes a difference? Like, for example, a PI firm, maybe they'll say like the injury Robin Hood method, or the or something on that, like Robin Hood play, like the insurance Robin Hood, and the Robin Hood of insurance companies, or something like that, right? Like where it's more about like, oh yeah, we're gonna go and get what you deserve from the insurance company for you.
Yeah, that's a great point, because it's difficult. It's not the easiest thing in the world to sit there and come up with ideas. I truly think that's one of the gifts God blessed me with, was being very creative in coming up with different marketing ideas. Mad Men is one of my favorite shows, and it really kind of typifies that concept of, extending yourself outside of the standard marketing box and thinking of different ways to do it, because tactics can only take you so far. And really it's the creativity. And that's why I love what I do, is because I get paid to be creative every day and come up with ideas. I'm very clear about like what I do and how I come up with these ideas. I mean, I know it's a PG show, but I've had times where I've been, in a rut, and I've sat in a hot tub for about 2 hours and, got a little high and walked away with a pad full of new ideas. I'm not going to expect an attorney to sit there and, take the same steps that I do in order to unlock some creativity and come up with some different things. But there's other resources. That actually brings us right into the benefit of using AI. I mean, I'm not totally sure how well versed your audience is in utilizing AI content creation and things like that, but that's one aspect of it. The other thing is you can really train an AI to be very creative for you. So I have some scripts that we use with all of our clients where we get into the system and we say like, hey, I am a law firm that specializes in personal injury attorney. My favorite type of clients are females 35 to 50. My favorite types of case are car accidents. I think one of my biggest values is this. And you give the AI the base, the kind of foundation of what you're looking for. And then you can introduce these kind of cool outside aspects. Like one of my favorite authors is Mark Manson. He's the author of The Subtle Art of Not Giving a F.
Yeah.
Keeping this PG for you. So I've actually gone in and created content for my own company because I like what he's, how he presents himself and the way that he speaks in his communication. I know it's better than mine. And so there's been times I've written up an article and then I've submitted to AI and I said, rewrite this as if you were Mark Manson, and then by having that, then I can now get this cool piece of content where I kind of built the framework around it, but get a whole new spin on it. So you can do the same thing with AI. You can come up with a few different ideas for your mechanism, or just put in there, hey, the one thing that's special about our law firm is, we, guarantee X, Y, and Z. We, no fee unless you win. We do this. Give me some ideas for a unique mechanism and AI knows what a unique mechanism is. And if you find that it doesn't give you back the right information, just ask it, do you understand what the marketing concept unique mechanism is? And it'll say, oh, yes, a unique mechanism is da, 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 da. And say, okay, give me a unique mechanism for this special thing about my law firm. And it'll give you like a top 10 list. It's really quite fun to do. Actually, it's some of the dorky nerd out marketing stuff that I really enjoy sitting down with my team and showing them like, hey, this is the world we live in now. We don't have to sit here and, throw ideas at a wall and hope something comes up. Let's consult some AI and see what we can come up with here and then put our own spin on things.
Shucks, we don't get to go for 2 hours in the hot tub and get high anymore. We just have AI spitting it out for us.
Although, AI is competition for all of us, right? It's if you are not in a, we'll say kind of a creative or it has to be person to person type industry, AI is going to make your job difficult. We're seeing it everywhere. I know I currently have half as many content writers as I did a year ago. And the reason being is because AI satisfies a lot of the things that we needed, like for meta descriptions or title tags or even keyword research and things like that, that we just don't need a human person for anymore. But utilizing AI as a creative sounding board is actually pretty fun. I'd highly recommend that. That's been the number 2 thing I tell people to do. Number 1 is always comp shop. You got to go look at your competitors and see what they're doing and then do what they're doing better. Number 2 is have a conversation about marketing with AI, because I think that you come away with some different concepts and some different kind of plays on what you're doing.
Yeah, I love that. I think AI is one of those things where it's like you're trying to figure out, is this just a buzzword or is this like the wave of the future? I kind of attribute it to like when Snapchat came out or when Clubhouse came out, right? Like it was the next big thing, but then is it really here to stay? And I obviously the AI is such a broad terminology that the technology is here to stay, right? The idea of having a computer be able to have progressive thought and be able to take different inputs that it's able to find on its own and then come out with a solution for you. That's not sci-fi anymore, right? That's really happening. And the question is what is it going to do for legal? What is it going to do for law firms? And there's a lot of talk in the marketplace about, hey, that, eventually AI is going to replace your job. And I don't think that's true. I think that people iterate, right? I think it's going to be the thing that's the impetus of you needing to up your game, of you needing to become better at what you do. If you no longer need to do hours and hours of research because AI could just spit it out for you, then great. What are you going to do with those hours? How are you going to become a better attorney? You're going to work on your neuro-linguistic programming skills. Are you going to work on your courtroom skills? Are you going to work on your client acquisition skills? What are you going to do as those things happen so that you continually evolve and become a better version of yourself? But when it comes to marketing, I can totally see where AI can really give somebody who's willing to put in the time and effort to learn it, can really give them a lot of tools that otherwise they would have had to go and pay for, working with somebody. But you're here as a marketer talking about AI right here on the show, right? You're not afraid that, I just gave away my secret. Now everybody can go and figure out their own unique mechanism without coming to me to get it. The reality is that 90% of the people listening are not going to go and try this for themselves. They just, and now they understand that it's out there, it's possible. We can do this unique mechanism. I know that Paul is going to do it efficiently for me, so I'm going to give Paul a call and I'm going to say, hey, I need a unique mechanism. Help me out. I want to create muscle confusion for my clients.
Yeah, it's not only fun, but I think you could speak to this too. Attorneys go through a ton of education to get where they're going. I have one attorney client who I think he is now passed the bar in like his 13th state or something like that. I'm like, man, you're crazy. Like that. It's a lot of work that guy puts in, But in sitting down and talking with him, I've asked him like, hey, do you enjoy marketing? Like, have you ever taken a class in marketing? You ever sit down and think about how people perceive you as a business and like what you're doing to proactively impact that? And his flat answer was like, no, I think I took one marketing class in college. It's just not my thing. I like doing law. I like, positively impacting my community. I like finding good cases. I'm not interested in the rest of that stuff. That's why I have you. You keep my phone ringing. You keep the form submissions coming in. So what's nice is, on the marketing side, is if you're pointing to an ROI and you can let an attorney be an attorney, it's the best situation in the world for them, right? They didn't go to school so long so they could sit on Facebook. That's not it's not the dream. And honestly, it's not my dream either to sit on Facebook at all. It's my dream to be the creative side of it, and then I have people in my company that do that legwork, and that's really what building a company and scaling up is finding your area of expertise, shuffling everything else off to other people. I have 2 executive assistants because I was shuffling things so fast, one couldn't cut it, so I needed a second one to shuffle things off to. So, and now that we've been able to incorporate AI, I would say I spend probably 20 to 30 minutes a day utilizing the tool in some way, whether it's giving me some, and most of the time it's giving me ideas for. Just because it's great to have a list of, say, like 10 options for a unique mechanism. And, maybe I like a little bit of one, I like a little bit of 7, but then I combine those 2. I figured out something that AI couldn't generate that, kind of matches those 2 things. So one of the things for our unique mechanism is our ebook is called the Prospect to Patient Protocol. I'm a military guy. I like protocol. I like systems. I like, ABC and following a set, path as I'm doing something. And so for my medical professionals, it's a great way. It's like 35, 40 pages of, here you go, here's how to optimize your online presence. And even building the outline for it, coming up with some different concepts around it. I consulted AI while doing it. And then I would have it generate a little piece. I'd put it into my own voice. I would find ways to put it in the same order that logically I think of the things, even though it would spit out at me, sometimes some garbage, sometimes some gold, so you got to kind of know how to pan for that gold and put that together. But when I talk about unique mechanisms, I mean, the prospect to patient protocol, it's really changed that whole aspect of my business. It changed how we sell. It's changed how we set appointments. It changed, how we pitch. It changed even my video sales letter and how I'm building trust and building emotional connections with people, because now it's a much more well-framed concept around what we were doing already, but now it's got, some nice bows and ties on it and some nice, almost like a sitemap. I'm able to kind of go through this thing, and it turned into a fantastic checklist to really double check some of the work that my clients or that my employees are doing for my clients. So if you think about just really all of the positives that can come from just getting a second set of eyes on something, getting a second opinion on something, it can really just change, one small little lever that impacts a lot of things down the road.
Yeah, I love that, and the concept of being able to use it in all these different ways, and you almost need to spend your creativity figuring out how to take advantage of the tool instead of being creative, and then twisting whatever the tool gives you to be something that's useful. And but one thing you want to be careful about is, there's that story going around with the attorney who went into AI and said, give me 3 cases, three court cases that that really happened, that had this and this in it, or this and this result. AI spit it out. He just, without verifying it, dumped it into his brief, and turned out that none of the cases actually existed. So you don't want to get caught with your pants down. You don't want to be using something that's not real, not legitimate. So make sure to verify things like that. Even if you're asking AI to do the work for you, it already found it. Now you can just verify and make sure it actually is true, or it actually exists, and it's authentic, and it's being, and the meaning of it is being taken correctly, right? Like you could pull a case, and that AI tells you has this result, and you verify the cases there, but you don't go and make sure that that's really the result. It could have the same type of adverse effect on you. So there's a lot of ways to use AI. It's actually a topic that we haven't spoken about much on the podcast, because I wanted to see where it's going to go. I wanted to really understand how lawyers can use it without giving them another shiny tool to get lost in. I kind of jumped in when Clubhouse came out, and I started jumping into the rooms, and I thought that it was a great thing. It was going to be a good marketing tool, and brought it back to the podcast audience. But in hindsight, I don't really think it was good. I think the people who went down that rabbit hole probably wasted a lot of time on it. And maybe some people benefited from it. But I want to be more careful with, sending you down a path that makes sense for you, that it makes sense for you to get lost in this, like that, and spend your time on this. Like, this is going to actually bear fruit that's going to move the needle in your business for you. And I think we're getting there. I think that even people who are teaching people how to use AI, like the stuff that you're able to find on YouTube and consume, to learn how to, how to get the most out of it. Those people are learning on the fly and getting better at giving you that content to learn how to make the best of it. So as it matures, that's when it's going to make more and more sense for us to look at it. I want to switch gears here, though. One of the things that you shared with me in the green room before we started is this concept of answer engine optimization. And I know that, everybody wants to get the a leg up on SEO. They want to get the latest and greatest way of ranking in Google and other search algorithms, and really winning at that game of showing up for their clients at the right relevant moment. What is answer engine optimization? Will it help us do that? And how does somebody take advantage of it?
So as crappy an answer as this is, it is still yet to be seen. AEO, well, I'll give you my personal feeling on it, is buyers generally are always looking for the least barriers, the least friction in making a decision. And we're seeing kind of the convergence of that along with AI. So you've got Bing already has a contract with ChatGPT. So Bing and AI is already integrated. You've got Google has their own version called Bard. I don't think I think it's still in beta right now, but maybe by the time the show comes out, it might be already available. And with that, what we've been finding constantly is, I don't want to say it too loud because it's always listening over there, but we got Google and we got Alexa and things like that. More and more people are utilizing voice search, even Siri on your phone. And so as that number continues to grow, which last time I saw it was about like 25% of searches are actually done through voice, people are asking less and less of, find me a personal injury attorney near me. And they're now more asking, who is the best personal injury attorney near me? Or find me a personal injury attorney that specializes in dog bites. Or, they're asking a question, and what they're expecting now is not, well, here's the top 3 or here's the top 10, which is what you basically get with SEO. Now they're expecting, one answer, tell me what to do, point me in the direction. I'm going to go do that thing, kind of as we continue to get lazy and lazier as consumers, we're looking for those shortcuts. And that's really what AEO is answer engine optimization. It's ensuring that when people are utilizing voice search more often and they're getting less options, that you have content that's really catered exactly to what they're asking. And so there's a few different things you can do with it. One is there's a great service that we utilize a lot over here, and it is publicly available. It's called Answer the Public. It's by Neil Patel. If anybody is a marketing dork like me, you certainly know who Neil Patel is. He has, I believe it's the largest social media management or online presence management company in the US. They are huge, and they are one of the few full service ones out there. A lot of marketing companies you'll find are either do it with you or do it for you. They are kind of a cool mix of the two. They give you some options similar to what we do over here. Most of what we do is do it for you, but we do also have some do it with you options. But with that, he's got this great website called Answer the Public. And you could go in there and just type, say, personal injury attorney in Los Angeles, California. And it will show you the top 80. It's usually 80 it maxes out at questions that were asked that fall under that category. I recommend that you definitely get like more and more specific with it as you go, because otherwise you're getting these very broad questions in which you're trying to capitalize on a question that is asked 1,000 times a day. And there's another law firm out there that's probably already got that locked up pretty well. So if you can niche it down a little bit and find something that are a little bit closer to you, but it's also a great, again, just like I was saying, use AI as a creative input. Answer the Public is also another great creative input. If you don't know what to blog about one month, shop on there, put, dog attacks, and it'll tell you, top, somebody Googled what's the dog most likely to attack you, things like that. And then you can create a blog off of that topic. Now you're kind of positioning yourself that if somebody did ask that over voice search and you've got the best content, you've got the best website, the highest authority, then you potentially could be, Google found that the answer to this question is here, cited on, your website. So it's nothing that's bearing down on us right now, but we're already seeing kind of the writing on the wall as Bing's moved over to ChatGPT and Google's got Bard coming out and Siri's growing in usage. And, it's all kind of going in that direction. And so Well, you might not need to run out tomorrow and start generating a ton of blogs about every single question that's potentially asked in your niche. Understand that is how a significant amount of people are going to be making buying decisions in the relatively near future, and start prepping for it in a few different ways. You're already seeing more with Google, even on the SEO side. If you search for something and you get that little drop down, the little accordion where it'll have a bunch of different questions that are right in there, you click on that question, the answer comes up with a little link to the website right underneath it. I mean, that's basically the visual form of exactly what I'm talking about. Those are called snippets. And it's only become more prevalent. So start thinking about those ideas.
Is there a strategy yet that we figured out is the way to present information to Google so that this now becomes the answer to a question? Like, is it better to have a really short blog that just answers the question succinctly with no additional fluff? Kind of moving away from you need at least 500 words to rank. But now if you have this post and it asks the question as the title and then it provides the answer as the blog post, maybe that's going to get, Alexa's, Google's and Siri's attention better. Than something that has way more information in it that it needs to comb through and try to figure out what the answer is.
Yeah, so there's no tried and true 100% this is the way to do it. There's a few reasons for that. One, Google's not real big about releasing information about how their algorithms and things work. But I will tell you what we have done, and we have seen some early success on it. And it's kind of a twofold. One, whenever you're writing a blog, you should answer the question in the first paragraph and then dig into the details throughout it. So that if you think about that introductory paragraph as 2 to 3 sentences, that would be perfect for a snippet. That's a really good way to start. The other thing is FAQs. So we have seen quite a few FAQs get pulled in for snippets and coming up in voice search. So what's cool about the FAQs is, one, you can answer a bunch of questions and you can just do it in like the 2-3 little sentence blocks. But second, as far as a user experience on a website, they're pretty effective, pretty efficient. If I go to your car accident page and I see on it, the top 10 questions that get asked around it, and I can just kind of click through it, it's providing me the information I'm looking for without me having to jump through a million hoops or to read a giant thing of content. Google also appreciates it. So it's kind of twofold. One, make sure you're answering the question in the introductory, and second is FAQs.
Yeah, I love that. And FAQs, it almost goes back to the web design side of it, and really helping with the navigation of your site, and the jumping off point for the foundational content of your blog. So even if you're not going to consistently blog all the time, having a blog post around each of the FAQs makes a lot of sense to have as your foundational content on your website. So now understanding that FAQ now serves as another for another purpose really is helpful information, and people can use that to just revisit, make sure that you have that there. And you can even test and see when you ask the question in Google and see if your site, your FAQ is coming up in a snippet. Is it coming up on as a link? What's it doing with that? And then even ask the question to the audio the audio gods, right? Let's see, it's A, G, and S. Can we to the SAG, to ask to the SAG? If what that question, just pose the question and see if it pulls the answer from your site.
And it also kind of goes hand in hand with, just like I'm saying, you always should be competition shopping. You should always be looking and checking and seeing what the other guy's doing. If you have a snippet that's really right in your niche and you see somebody else has it, look at their website. Look at here's one little behind the curtain task that anybody can do is, if you have a core URL, so say it was honorable.marketing, that's our URL. if you wanted to see how many pages we have indexed with Google, and I guess I could give you the quick 20-second idea of what indexing is. When you Google something, you're not searching the internet. Exactly. You are searching Google's file cabinet of the internet. So Google goes out and they call them spiders. They're crawlers. They crawl through all the content on your site, figure out what it is, put that page of content into your search console, your file in your file cabinet. And if you just take somebody's URL and you do SITE : and then the core URL, so no www, no backslash at the end, and hit enter, you'll see Google will come back with something like 250 pages found. And that means that basically Google has indexed 250 pages on that website. Their site may be bigger, maybe smaller, but as far as Google's file cabinet is concerned, that's what they've got on there. So that's page or website size is not like a be all end all for SEO. But if you got to decide on competition, if something is worth really, trying for, and you Google something, you take the top guy, you do that check on his website, and you see that he has like a 3,000 page website, and you've got a 40 page website, you should probably move on. Like that's probably going to be quite a barrier for you to overcome, and it's not like you're going to generate 2,960 pages of content in the next few months to be up in that league. But that'll give you at least point you in the direction of some things not to do with it. But it's kind of one of those things. If you don't know that's how Google operates, that's one way to kind of at least narrow your focus on some of these different topics.
And I think that when it comes to organic marketing, sometimes we're just looking for a treasure that hasn't been found. The one keyword that somebody else isn't ranking for, and the one that you can rank for, and all of a sudden it starts making your phone ring. And that's why I think it's like trying to all the different iterations, trying all the different things that you want to have, that you're showing up for, so that you can get one or two that's actually working. And when you're doing this, it's trial and error, right? Like, I'm going to try these FAQs. If they're not doing it for me, let me add some more and see what happens. And see if you can figure out the secret sauce that's gonna move the needle for you. But it's that's part of the challenge with organic in general, and this is an ongoing challenge. Algorithms change, platforms change, usage by people changes, so the people who are consuming it changes, and what worked for you yesterday doesn't necessarily work for you today or tomorrow. This is also a benefit to you, because what somebody spent tens, maybe hundreds of thousands of dollars getting themselves to rank first on Google can overnight lose that, because Google changed how it's looking and what it's looking for. And if you happen to be ready to jump in and put in what they're looking for, you can suddenly be wearing that hat. So it's comforting to know that there's a possibility for you. It's challenging to know that that somebody who's been at this for longer, for doing a better job at it, you're not going to unseat them that quickly. I mean, Paul, just in general, your thoughts. It sounds like a lot of your business is in this realm of, creating content and really getting sites to rank, and to also drive people to the firm for that decision. Just your overall thoughts on organic versus paid, and where should the efforts be placed? Where do you sit in that conversation?
So I will never knock paid advertising. Paid ads is great. Really, they're both great. It's different if you're looking at what your end all goal is to get new clients. Organic traffic converts at a much higher rate than paid traffic. So if you want to look at doing the maximum amount of effort for the longest term benefit, I would say really focus on the SEO side. The problem with that though too is like sometimes you can't get a page to rank because it just isn't getting any traffic. And so if you've got maybe really good content on it, really good FAQ on it, it's laid out well, it's indexed with Google, but you're just not getting the traffic to that page that you want, run some paid ads to it. Traffic to a page is actually one of the fairly important algorithms for SEO. So it's kind of like the chicken and the egg here. You know, like I can't get traffic because I don't have authority. I can't get authority because I can't get traffic. So that's really when paid ads becomes a great idea. Beefing up a new practice area that you have maybe, or even like when you're doing this competition, if you see yourself as maybe 2 or 3, or maybe even 5 or 6 on a keyword term that you really think if you were number 1, you'd be killing it for. If you're in that 5 and 6 range, you know, maybe that one thing that you're missing that those guys above you have, if you take a look and the content's about the same length and, you know, they have just as many backlinks and things, the biggest difference might just be traffic. And so even injecting some paid ads into a standard SEO page like that might just give you what you need to see that SEO benefit. So it's hard to say like, do this one, don't do this one, because they both have their pluses and minuses. The downfall of SEO is it's a lot of work. You know, it's a lot of content generation. It's a lot of, you know, how do you get backlinks? I mean, backlinks are very difficult to get. I've got, I think like 7 or 8 different people now that I have out there looking, hunting, finding good backlinks and setting up situations with our company and them. And, you know, we have to buy some backlinks. We have to trade some backlinks. We have to, you know, do this, that, and the other. And I would never imagine an attorney taking time out of their day to do that heavy lifting. And yet backlinks is still a really important part. If I was going to say like what the lowest hanging fruit is, a lot of businesses just really suck on their citations, which is as easy as utilizing, you know, Yext or Sign Up is another one.
What was the one that you just said? Yext?
Yext. Yep. Like Yext. It's a business listing builder. So those are citations. So if you think about if Google's deciding between one page and the other page, and this business here has the exact same information everywhere on 250 directories, and this one here has their name is, you know, Bob Law Firm over here, and it's Attorney Bob over here, and you know the hours aren't the same, and you know, maybe different phone numbers, who knows. But if Google is not seeing that continuity and everything looking great, and all of these different directories linking back to the same site, that's going to determine the authority. So those are called citations. If they're coming from directory sites, if they're like really big and strong and maybe from like a high traffic site like Yelp or something like that, those could be considered a backlink. But in most cases, those are considered citations. And those are pretty easy to get. I mean, you just got to do the legwork of using those directories and getting them out there. There is one thing I would say, which is kind of another inside baseball thing, which is aggregators. So Foursquare, Newstar, those are 2 of the aggregators. There's 2 more big ones too, but I'm not it's too late in the day. We got to do these podcasts.
Sorry, I'm blank.
But you could just Google like business directory aggregators. But when you submit them to those aggregators, those diffuse out to about 80 other directories. And so really, as long as you ensure your information is correct, like who uses Foursquare, right? But you got 80 other directories that use Foursquare. So if you put it on those, then you got all these other sites here. And, you know, maybe somebody's going to find you on that, maybe not. But the bigger thing is, you know, Google seeing all these links back to your site from these directories. They know you got, you know, your stuff in order. They're going to assign a higher authority to the URL, and potentially that can make you rank better. So that's just some kind of low hanging fruit on that. As far as kind of like pushing it with the paid ads, doing paid ads to SEO pages is not always the best for conversion. Organic, like just, so I guess let me back it up here. When somebody has Googled something and they get to your personal injury or your car accident page, and obviously your page should have a form on it, should have one button calling, all those things. When they get to that page, they're generally there 50-50, either to contact you or to do a little research on making this buying decision. When it's a paid ad, you've got their eye for a moment, and they, maybe clicked on a display ad, or they Googled something and clicked on your PPC, you've only got their eye for like a second. So really, any paid ads, you should try to funnel towards landing pages, which are built for conversion. Form submission right in their face, hit some value propositions right next to them. So it's like, cool, paid ad, form submission, like fill it out. Whereas SEO pages are a little bit more of the research side. So when you are taking a little bit of funds and putting it towards an SEO page to get it to rank better, just know that a little bit of that paid ad money is going to waste, as opposed to if you're sending that to a landing page. So again, positives and negatives to both, but it is good to test. And we have found some really great success on funneling a little bit of paid ad traffic to SEO pages to get them kind of over that last hump.
Yeah, and I mean, this is part of the challenge for business owners, and part of the fun, but also the drawback and the challenge is, you got to test this stuff. You got to figure out what works for you. There isn't a one answer fits all. There isn't a one solution fits all, and you gotta spend some money to get the answers. After you got the lowest hanging fruit of, family and friends and getting the word out there, and maybe some relationships with other attorneys referring business to you, when you need to start really driving the lead engine, you got to decide where you're going to put your focus and just lean into it, and then add the other layers on top of it. And I think from what I'm hearing and understanding is, it's not necessarily choose SEO or choose PPC. One's better than the other. It's, choose one based on whatever feels good or right to you, or how long of a runway you got, or whatever it is, and then go with it, and then use the other one to kind of boost it. So, and that's really where, we need to be focusing our efforts in at least one of those camps. Paul, great conversation with you as usual. Some new hot topics that we talked about. Really excited about what's coming. Whether it's a bunch of attorneys coming up with terminology like muscle confusion to really get the marketplace interested in what they have to offer. If you can really get it to sound like something that nobody else has, that's really what you want to get to. Then we talked about AI, and then we talked about this idea of the AEO and the answer engine optimization. It's all new stuff, but as you start to just go out there and try things, that's going to that's going to perhaps give you the leg up that you need, for your business growth. So, really enjoyed it. I want to wrap it up with this, and this is typically how I end it. If you remember from last time, one parting piece of advice or wisdom for our audience, and then how can they learn more about you, get in touch with you if they're interested, intrigued in what you have to offer.
Yeah, I feel like I gave away all my advice. The one thing that I would highly recommend for a lot of law firms, and I think a lot of this comes down to a bit of fear. I'm a big proponent, like, you're either operating out of love and faith, or you're operating out of fear. And I think a lot of marketing decisions made for law firms is fearful. And I usually see it like the first month or two that I work with a client, and they're like, "Oh, you posted this thing on Facebook, and it was a settlement and not a verdict." And I'm like, "Oh, totally fine." Boom, like change the graphic, and it's up there. And like, they were very concerned about it, like, like, this is a huge thing. And I'm like, it's truly okay. We just change an image, and everything's good to go. And yes, that's important, and it's important to work with your marketing team to kind of like help them understand things like that, because we don't always know the difference between a settlement and a verdict in a case that you did. We don't know if there was a jury there. Like, sometimes you just send us over an amount and tell us it was for a car accident. And so you kind of have to understand those things. But one of the things I would say with law firms is, whatever you can do to really release whatever fear you have about the perception people could have of you online, or like mistakes that could potentially happen with your marketing and things like this. So much of this stuff is not permanent anymore. A lot of things can be edited, and there really is some massive benefits on the other side of fear. My clients that are willing to sit there and do a short little video for me, night and day on the type of results that we get for them versus the ones that we beg for videos all the time, or we beg them, for some personal information that we can put out there. We see a direct correlation between the businesses that are willing to put themselves out a little bit and the revenue that we generate them versus the ones that hold back. So that'd be my biggest piece of advice to law firms is, I know it's hard. I'm not telling you it's not hard, but if you can find a way to quell the fear of public awareness about you, or people getting to know you on a little bit more personal level, I would highly recommend you do that. If anybody wants to get in touch with me, my website is honorable.marketing. I think it's probably changed since last time I was with you, Moshe. You could always still go to #-smart.com. It'll just route you over there anyway. But our company is now officially Honorable Marketing. You can always find me on LinkedIn. Just linkedin.com/ZMOTExpert, ZMOTEXPERT. And all over Instagram, my personal Instagram, where I allow people to see a little bit about the personal side of me, trying to get rid of my own fear on those things, is Honorable Entrepreneur. So you can always find me on Instagram as Honorable Entrepreneur, all one word.
Awesome, folks. We're going to link all that up in our show notes, which can be found at profitwithlaw.com, as well as should be in the resources section of your podcast player in the description of this episode. Really appreciate you hanging out with us as we covered some of these new topics, and maybe it made your head spin, or maybe it's just because I'm at the tail end of a day of batching podcast interviews that I, my brain is not thinking as clearly as it should. But it's exciting stuff. I mean, when there's new stuff that comes out, it's scary to try something new. It's scary to think about what it might create or cause, but at the same time, and leaning back into your fear versus love. And, I think that all of these new things are an opportunity for us to step into a better version of ourselves. And we really need to take advantage of those opportunities that are presented to us, because we get a chance to do something that other people couldn't do. I mean, just think about, like, we're driving cars and flying on planes, and people who lived 200 years ago didn't, and it's a completely different life. Like, we're able to see parts of the world that nobody else could have done, back in those days. Somebody could spend their entire life and never go outside of a 5-mile radius. And now we do that just to go to the grocery store. So we have to embrace the new as an opportunity and just look for the ways that we can step up our game and just become better through this process. If you enjoyed this episode, we want to make sure that you're subscribed to the show. So look at your podcast player, make sure you're subscribed, hit that subscribe button. Also, I've been talking a lot about our YouTube channel. We launched it in March. Really excited about it. We'd love to have you come over there as a subscriber. One of the benefits of subscribing to the channel is you get notified by YouTube when we release a new video. And one of the things that we're doing is we're extracting a bunch of these small snippets of gold from our past content, past guests, past talks at the Law Firm Growth Summit, stuff like that. And we're just hitting you with those short 60 to 90 second segments. So if you want just a nice dose of information on the regular, then you want to make sure you're subscribed to our YouTube channel. So head over to YouTube by going to profitwithlaw.com/YouTube. It'll take you right to our channel. Hit that subscribe button there. And we're excited to have you with us. Come back next week for some more exciting stuff. Another amazing guest. We're here every single Thursday with brand new content for you. So until then, enjoy yourselves, enjoy your weekend, and we'll catch you on the next episode. Take care.